Smart Culture, Mathematics.
Let's take a look at this example question. Plot a graph of the following function. Y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6, where x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 5. So what we'll do in this case is we'll use a table of values to plot this quadratic function. A table of values can be generated from a quadratic function by substituting the x values and calculating the values for y. Now remember, x is equal to greater than 0 but less than or equal to 5. So we'll start with 0 as the first x value, and then we substitute this value of 0 into the equation. So then we have y is equal to 0 squared minus 5 times 0 plus 6. 0 plus 6 is equal to 6. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 6. Let's take a look at the next x value of 1. So we substitute this value of 1 into the equation. 1 minus 5 plus 6 is equal to 2. Negative 4 plus 6 is equal to 2. So when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. Let's take a look at the next x value of 2. So we substitute this value of 2 into the equation. Then we have 2 squared minus 5 times 2 plus 6. So that will be 4 minus 10 plus 6, which is equal to 0, since negative 6 plus 6 is equal to 0. So when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 0. Let's take a look at the next x value. Here we have x is equal to 3. So we substitute this into the equation. 3 squared minus 5 times 3 plus 6. So that is 9 minus 15 plus 6. That is equal to 0. Negative 6 plus 6 is equal to 0. So when x is equal to 3, y is equal to 0. Let's move on to the next x value. Here we have x is equal to 4. 4 squared minus 5 times 4 plus 6. So it will be 16 minus 20 plus 6. That is equal to 2. Negative 4 plus 6 is equal to 2. So when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 2. Let's take a look at the last x value of 5. 5 squared minus 5 times 5 plus 6. So it will be 25 minus 25 plus 6. And that is equal to 6. So when x is equal to 5, y is equal to 6. So now we have all these coordinates. Now we can just plot them. So the first coordinate will have an x value of 0 and a y value of 6. So that will be on the y-axis. The next point that we have to plot is 1 and 2. So that will be right here. The next one is 2 and 0. So that will be on the x-axis. The next one will be 3 and 0. So that will also be on the x-axis. Then we have a point of 4 and 2. So that point will be right here. We have to plot it here. And then lastly, we have 5 and 6. The next thing that we should do is we should connect the dots. So this is what the parabola will look like. As you can see, it is a smiley face since the leading coefficient a has a positive value. Let's take a look at this next example question. Plot a graph of the following function. Y is equal to negative x squared minus 5x plus 6. So as you can see in this case, the leading coefficient has a negative value. Remember, negative leading coefficients result in a downward opening parabola. So it will be a sad face if you want to think about it in a simple way. So let's start with our table of values. We'll start with an x value of negative 7. So what we do is we substitute this value of negative 7 into the equation to find the value for y. So if we substitute this value of negative 7 into the equation, y will be equal to negative 8. The next x value is negative 5. If we substitute this value of negative 5 into the equation, you'll see that y is equal to 6. The next x value is equal to negative 3. So let's substitute this value of negative 3 into the equation. Negative 9 plus 15 plus 6 is equal to 12. So if x is equal to negative 3, then y will be equal to 12. The next x value that we will be working with is negative 1. If we substitute this value of negative 1 into the equation, then y will be equal to 10. What about the next value of 1? If we substitute the value of 1 into the equation, then we get a y value of 0. If we substitute a value of 2 into the equation, then we get a y value of negative 8. So now that we have all these x and y values, we can plot the points. The first point will have an x coordinate of negative 7 and a y coordinate of negative 8. Then we have the next point, negative 5 and 6. Here we have the next point, negative 3 and 12. Here we have the next point, negative 1 and 10. Here we have the next point, 1 and 0. And then here we have the last point, 2 and negative 8. So then you can connect the dots. And as you can see here, we have a downward opening parabola. In this example, we'll take a look at how you can go about finding the graphical solution of an equation. So this is the same example that we looked at in the beginning. And here we have the function y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. Now, how can we go about solving this equation? To solve the equation, we have to find the values of x when y is equal to 0, where the graph intersects the x-axis. So if you take a look at the graph, you can see this will be over here where x is equal to 2 and here where x is equal to 3. So these are the roots, these are the solutions of the equation.
And that's a wrap on today's fascinating journey through the world of knowledge. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of curious minds. We can't wait to embark on new educational adventures together.